Right, so here we all are again, back up in the studio. I want to run a couple of things past you actually. I have a plan. In fact, better than that, I have a cunning plan. And it sort of goes like this. Remember lockdown? Wasn't that long ago, was it? That was still sort of semi in the tail end of it, if you like. But during full lockdown, we were up here a lot, you know. Spent most of my time up here telling stories basically, and judging by all the messages, the hundreds of nice messages I got, you all enjoyed them. So that's sort of leading me to my plan. I sort of miss being up here a little bit. I enjoyed doing the first book, and what I'd like to do, what I'd really like to do, is I'd like to do the second book, because the second book's jam-packed full of really good stories that I'd love to go through. But unfortunately something's getting in the way. It's called work. We've all got, lots of us gone back to work, not everybody admittedly, and we've all got to earn a crust, haven't we, at the end of the day. That little baby blackbird or whatever is determined to be in this bit of video. So we've all got to earn a crust, we've all got to pay the rent, pay the bills, what have you. Now my normal sort of job uses up all of my time. You know, within the fishing industry there is no spare time for spending hours up here producing videos. But what if? What if I could do, or find time to do all the stories? What if I could talk about the mere, everything that really happened at the mere and the black mirror, and all those other fish that are in there? What if I could talk about sonning, the sonning eye, you know, 55 pounds, my personal best mirror to this day, second biggest fish in the country at the time I was fishing for it, 240 acre wild pit, loads of skullduggery was going on there, all sorts I can tell you. Cunning, you know, fishing at Cunning for two-tone, the biggest fish in the country. So you got the second biggest and the biggest carp in the country at that time, went on to be the British record, obviously, as we all know. And the social scene on there, the parties, the stuff, you know, it was just a blinding place. And this book is just packed full of stories like that, and I'd love to sit here and go through them. So what if I could? What if I could find time to do that? What if we had a club, if you like, here on YouTube, like a members only club, and not only would you get the stories of this, you'd get the best of the blogs. Let's say, for example, maybe 2 blogs a month, with everything in there. Yeah, normal sort of on the bank live fishing blogs. What if there was also a private messaging forum just for club members, if you like, where you could all message me and do a questions and answers, for example, and in that, you know, at the end of the month I'd go through the questions in the Q&A, answer some of the more popular ones or the more interesting ones, and the top one I'd do on the bank as a video on the bank explaining how to or what to or whatever the question was. And the person who sends in that top one each month, what if they got a prize, a £100 mainline voucher every month? No, a different person every month. So they get 100 quid's worth of mainline bait. And then we could add stuff like, a lot of you love the cookery side of it, you know, could do a little cooking on the bank, easy meals on the bank, with a cob, without a cob, with a barbecue, you know, living like kings we could call it, something like that. All sorts of different things, all technical things. Lots of people say, can you take time out to show your rigs? And I don't like to mix the two, you know, the sort of fun on the bank and the technical stuff. But within a club, you could have different bit tabs, different videos that you click on, you know, technical ones, or not too technical because I'm not that techno. Your fishing blogs, your story time ones, your questions and answer page, all sorts of things. You know, it's limitless really. It is only limited by time. So this is where my plan comes into action. What if this club that you were all members of had a charge, a small charge? What if, for example, this club was £5 a month? Yeah, I could say £4.99, it would sound cheaper, but it's not, is it? £4.99 is a fiver. What if it was £5 a month and you'd get not a specified time, but you'd get plenty of stuff. Say you've got 4 or 5 lots of stuff a month, you know, you'd get a couple of the book readings, you'd get a couple of on the bank video blogs, you get a bit of technical stuff, a bit of this, a bit of this, bit of that, and you'd get the questions and answers thing, you know, as well, like a sort of an online magazine-y sort of thing, but just me. Well, it doesn't have to be just me, you know. If it takes off, I could, you know, go fishing with mates of mine that you don't get to hear a lot about, good anglers, get a second mic, we could sit and do little interviews on the bank, we could do anything, you know. The sort of, the ideas are endless, they're just going round and round in here. But what I need to know is I need to know that there's the support to do it. See, that's the rub. So what I'm thinking of doing is there's a company called Patreon, or it might be Patreon, I'm not really sure, and it's used, you might have heard of it, it's used by lots and lots of people in the sort of YouTube producing world, if you like. It's used by a lot of music artists, everything, apparently it's DIY, it's sportsmen, whatever, people who do blogging have this Patreon site, and they have reserved content, advert free, on this site. People pay a small amount and they get to watch the extra content, which is roughly what I'm thinking of doing, although I'm thinking of having more on that site, you know. So if you do pay your £5 a month or whatever, you get a lot of content. So that's my plan, that's my rough outline of what I'm thinking of doing. So it's going to go 2 ways, you know. If you all support it, or if a healthy amount of you support it, I'll be able to put more into it, and this will be the start of a brand new adventure that can go on for however long, can grow, can go on for years, can't it? If it isn't, if you're not up for it, which is fair enough if you're not, and it doesn't get the support it needs to be a goer, then I suppose we shut the loft hatch for the last time and give all this back to the spiders and the flies. They're the choices, really, you know. Like I say, one way or another, I've got to start providing in there. And I just thought I prefer this, you know. I prefer having this interaction. I prefer just being able to tell honest stories, funny stories, showing you how I do stuff without trying to sell you something, you know. Yeah, I just find it more pleasurable. It's more me. So it's going to be one or the other, but one way or the other I've got to go back to work. So just thought I'd give you this little idea that's running around in my head, so that if it does suddenly in the next couple of weeks pop up and you see this Patreon club button, you know what it's all about. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I'm going to go and cook some dinner. See you later. Ta-da.